How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to go and take this thing out. It's called there, the BTR GAZ. It's better than, I think it's like the B-8053 or something, as the name it is on the mod menu. And yeah, I'm going to go and do this mission on Black River called Wet Harvest. It sounds pretty good. So basically, I'm going to fly to that warehouse, grab 2 lots of bricks, back to the farm and drop them off. Go up around here, grab some metal beams, grab some wooden planks, cut kind of across a little. Across the river. It's a little path I like taking quite a lot just to test the trucks out, and yeah, back to the farm and drop it off. And yeah, as for this truck, I nearly did a review on it the other day, and I sort of started it on Black River and everything. The only reason I stopped in the end was the different gearboxes you can fit on this is like a balanced or whatever, the high range and the off-road. I've put the high range on, but it's still only got 5 gears out of 5. And I tried it out, yeah, with the off-road. I think it was 5 still as well, but you've obviously got the low range options, and the balance was, I believe, 5 again actually, but you don't have the high gear or multiple low range options. Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's a bug. I don't know, but obviously the high range is normally 8 gears, and yeah, overall though, this thing is pretty cool. I've been messing around with it here and there. And I certainly think it'd be pretty cool if it did have all 8 gears, because then it'd have a bit higher top speed when you're actually just motoring along the roads and stuff. But yeah, overall I think it's a mod that's worth grabbing. It's pretty well weighted. It's not got a lot of tyres, but in a way that's a good thing, because it takes me bloody ages to scroll through the tyre menu. But the ones it has got are pretty good options. I think these are 55s or something. Pretty decent size though for what it is. And yeah, you can get trailers and all that on it. It's got like a trailer hitch on it that... It says a trailer hitch and then a scout trailer hitch or something, but I'm sure from what I've been doing, it doesn't really matter which trailer hitch you've got, you can still have a various selection. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too keen on this trailer. It's the bloody ramped flatbed that usually drives me mental, but yeah, I need a 4-slot trailer, and this thing obviously has no 5th wheel option or anything, so I had to go for it. Yeah, as for yesterday, yesterday just ended up being a bloody disaster. What I wanted to do yesterday, or what I was doing, was driving the JBE Scout 800, because I actually quite like it. I've had a little test drive with it and that, and for a Scout, I think it is a very well done Scout. It feels pretty decent, because for the most part, other than the goddamn professional of course, I don't really use a lot of Scouts in this game, just because, like I've said before, usually there's no real advantage. It's just they don't really go faster than trucks or anything. Yeah, they can't go through the deep mud or the snow as well as trucks, and then they can't really carry cargo or anything. You got the Scout cargo trailers, but they're pretty terrible. They're like just little anchors that dig into the ground, because they've got the tiniest little wheels possible. So yeah, I don't really use them, whereas that JB Scout 800 actually feels pretty good. And what I wanted to do yesterday was go on to Flooded Foothills and go and do the mission called, is it Camping Gone Wrong or something? You basically got to go and tow a Scout 800, like a stock in-game one, up a mountain somewhere and drop it off to some campsite or something. But yeah, so I started to do that with the JBE 800, and first of all, the map was having really dodgy frame rates, and it was making me feel sick, to be honest, just while I was watching it and stuff and playing it. It more seemed to be near the garage. Once I got further away from the garage, it seemed to calm down and go back to normal. But yeah, it was stuttering like mad. That was the first thing that was kind of driving me mad. But then I got there to the Scout 800. It needs 312 repair points, and I only had 300 on me. I had a feeling it would do that, but it is what it is. So then I had to recover and drive back there. And then yeah, once I was trying to tow it with the JBE, the JBE Scout 800. It was all just going wrong, and it was kind of like, in the end, I didn't want to do the video because it sort of would have been unfair on the JBE Scout in a way. It sort of would have shown it in a bad light, where I don't think it is a bad vehicle at all. I just kind of... Flooded Foothills isn't really the best of maps anyway, as far as like... It restricts a lot of stuff. It feels like the terrain stats are wound up to 11, and they're all a bit trollish. But yeah, the Scout I was trying to tow tipped twice within 10 feet, and then I couldn't get the front winch point to get it back. Then I rolled about 4 times, and that did, while I was trying to get the front winch point. And then I did a big wheelie and rolled back down the hill. And then I got a bit further up, and they both tipped either way. And it was just, yeah, it was trolling the crap out of me. And actually, in the end, I went to go make a coffee. I was like, right, I'll make a coffee and I'll have one more go. I'm all into the kitchen. I hit my elbow on the edge of the door, and I must have hit the absolute sweet spot of the funny bone. Because yeah, my arm was like completely dead. I couldn't lift it or anything. That's the thing with the funny bone. It hurt, but I was laughing, but it just, I don't know, it must have hit the nerve, and that was it. It was just arm down. I would have been able to still play the game. Once I was sat down, I could move my hand in that, but I literally could not lift my arm, and after I hit that, I was like, sod it, I'm going to bed. This night's turned into a disaster, and I'm just skipping it. So yeah, I'll pick some other mission for the JBE Scout, because, like I said, I think it's pretty decent for a Scout, like as an actual full-on stock, well, yeah, based on a stock Scout that was in the game. It does feel pretty decent, and that mission just wasn't really doing it any favours. To be fair, this thing probably would have been a better option to take. I might even go and do it at some point. Yeah, camping gone wrong with this thing, because this has got a lot more weight to it. Like I said, the tyres are pretty big. I just think this thing's pretty decent overall. It kind of reminds me in a way of the Tatran, but obviously it's only got 4 tyres, but in some ways the Tatran, even though it's good that it's got 8 tyres because it's got a hell of a lot of grip and everything, but it bounces around a lot, and as it starts to do a wheelie, plus it seems like it's got a fair bit of weight at the back, it struggles with steering. It's got a pretty massive turning circle, but as you're bombing along, like in the front keeps bobbing up, you kind of keep going between having no steering. You end up hitting a lot of things that you don't really plan on doing, but you kind of keep the throttle squeezed and hope for the best. And yeah, overall, I still definitely like the Tatran, but I just think this thing is a pretty good, yeah, sort of got a similar feel in a way, but at the same time, it's more like a conventional setup. Like the steering is quite often connected to the ground and so on. It's pretty decent for damage. This is it travelling flat out at the minute, 5th gear out of 5th. As I said, if it had the high range, I assume it'd be going quicker now, which would be pretty cool, but that's about the only real fault I can find with it, really. It's got a little roof rack. You can see that like camouflage coloured sheet over the back of it. That is, yeah, like a roof rack. Is it 250 points, I think it might have, which is still enough. Yeah, you know, if you smash yourself up or something and something goes to the red, you can at least fix yourself and limp to the next place. I think it's only carries 1 spare tyre with it though, which it'd be nice if it was more like 4 or whatever, but it is what it is. And yeah, for doing this mission, I mean, it was probably a little bit overqualified in that sense, because it just feels very well weighted and everything, and when you're driving along, even through the terrain, certainly if you get to the pretty deep mud, you do start noticing, like, you get slowed down and stuff, but for a lot of the shallow stuff, it doesn't really affect it, and it, to me, I think it feels more realistic, because especially something that looks and is built like this isn't really going to be slowed down by like 4 inches of mud. So yeah, it's just pretty nice. Like I say, it lets you just, it's quite a free-flowing truck. It doesn't get held up all the time like some of the terrain seriously just grips onto whatever you're driving and automatically slows you down to like, yeah, 1-2 miles an hour for at least some of that. This feels like it gets away and gets around that, which is yeah, pretty cool. And even as well, when I was driving back, you see, I managed to knock some of the trees down in the farm. I think I missed a couple of them. It was more my fault. It was just bad timing on the steering. But yeah, I actually did knock them down. Didn't take a hell of a lot of damage. And so far, the trailer hasn't even tipped on me or been some kind of troll, which it usually is. I think possibly because the this thing sits quite nice and high. It's got pretty nice tall suspension and the pretty big tyres. The tongue or whatever it's called, like the bar from the trailer that hooks to my truck, because that's like my truck sits higher than the trailer. I think that helps with a dolly axle. I think particularly when you got trucks or something where, yeah, like the tongue or hitch, whatever it is, sits lower, it kind of, as you brake and that, I think that's what almost encourages the dolly axle to tuck under its own trailer, and it twists the trailer and flips pretty easily. With it sticking up in the air, that's what she said, it kind of, yeah, I think it restricts how much of a troll the dolly trailer can be. And overall, I mean, I was zipping around, I was kind of pushing my luck a little bit with it, and all things considered, it went pretty well. So yeah, grabbed some metal beams, grabbed 2 lots of planks from here, and now, well, I was going to head back, but I was eyeballing this over here. I wanted to see if I could take a shortcut, in quotes, across the wood. I drove a loaf over here the other day. I mean, it is a goddamn horse vehicle, but the loaf did make it over the logs. And he was off, so I figured I'd attempt this one. And to be honest, that gap was, yeah, not quite big enough. The damn story of my life. So yeah, it was just like a little bit wider, it would have been fine. A little bit narrower, it probably would have been fine. But it was just to the point where it's clipping the tyres, but there's not enough there for the tyres to actually bite on and jump over. If I had got through there though, I believe this would have climbed over them logs pretty well. I'll be honest, actually, it's probably not a bad thing it didn't let me through there, because I think this thing would easily get over those logs. I don't know how well it'd drag this trailer over there. I forgot to turn on the off-road trailers again as well, so this is just the pure like road version of the trailer really. But yeah, you can see along here, I mean, not only is this thing motoring through the mud and everything with relative ease, it's actually kind of tugging that trailer along. And yeah, even though the trailer's now weighted up, it's kind of, I'm still more in control of the trailer than it is of me. With some trucks you get, particularly the lighter ones, because a lot of trucks feel quite light in this game. If you hit the brakes or anything, obviously the weight of the trailer just kind of skids you around and all sorts. It can still happen on this a bit. If you slam on, you're going to feel the weight of the trailer, but it's not as ridiculous. Like I say, I just think this thing's been weighted very well, and it's yeah, it feels very planted because of that. Cutting through that water as well, I mean, it went through there a bit too easily. When I sort of went over to the left, it was it looked like there was quite a shallow, yeah, bit that I cut over. I mean, I definitely could have gone deeper. That's what she said. And yeah, I think this thing would have easily handled it. It's got a snorkel on top of the roof, so, and again, because it is nicely weighted, it's I highly doubt it'll float. I'm pretty certain I drove through water, and yeah, I don't think this does float. But yeah, it's just one of those nice, to be honest, especially on maps, say like Zimnegorsk, and that would be pretty interesting to use on there, because I reckon it'd still plough along pretty well, and it probably is better in that case, just getting the off-road gearbox. As I said, I believe they're both 5 out of 5 gears, so you just get 3 versions of the low range. So yeah, it probably is worth sticking to that. I probably will do a review of this soon either way anyway, because I do quite like it and it's worth doing a review of. But yeah, like I said, I was going to start it the other day, and then I was just like, oh, I wonder, I'll wait a little bit to see if anything does happen with the gearbox. And yeah, that JBE Scout 800 as well, I'd quite like to do a review on that, because if I remember correctly, I think the Scout International Scout 800 thing is one of the only things I haven't reviewed so far, because it was just very vanilla and I never really got round to it near the beginning, and it was just one of them. But yeah, now there is actually a modded version of it, and it is, like I said, a pretty good version, so I'd like to, yeah, do a review on that at some point. So I was on my way back, finally got my revenge on the trees. Well, I took 2 out, hit that one. God damn it. One last chance to bag me 3rd tree. Job's a good one. Near the predator there. See his triangle in the tree. Yeah, probably wondering what the hell I'm on about. Don't worry, even I do sometimes. Yeah, so that's that done anyway. Wet harvest. I've been promoted. I'm on my newest playthrough. Again, it'd be nice at this point if they just let us able to reset missions, because yeah, it keeps dawning on me more and more. I keep umming and ahhing like, oh, I'll go on my like my first playthrough where I've got everything unlocked and all sorts of stuff, but there's not a whole lot left to do on that one, because I've completed the vast majority of the missions. I've got some missions left on stuff like Flooded Foothills, those massive missions, but yeah, going back to some of these earlier playthroughs, just for missions like this that give you, you know, 15-20 minutes just to bomb around in a vehicle, give it a little test. And you can see with this, I mean, it deleted itself pretty well on the pumpkins and everything, but most stuff that can go over 5 miles an hour does anyway. But yeah, even with collapsed suspension, it's still driving along, no issues, not really catching or anything. Like, it's definitely, yeah, if you damage it, worst case, just live without it, carry on motoring. I fixed it in the end, but what I should have done was fix my fuel tank and then the suspension, because yeah, the suspension ate all my points. And again, there's only 1 spare tyre, so I wasn't able to fix both of them. But you can see here though, this was just a random improvised shortcut that's probably not really a shortcut on the way back to the garage. Yeah, a lot of stuff though wouldn't be too keen about climbing over these rocks, especially not towing this ramped 4 slot behind me, which can be a bit of an anchor at times. There's one word for it, something else that rhymes with anchor. Yeah, I mean, it's doing pretty well. Found myself an upgrade. Whatever that's for. Don't need to care anymore. Oh, I bet it's probably the what's it called, the Fleet Star or something that you get at the garage. And you'll see it here as well, which is pretty bloody nice. I go straight over a tree stump, which is nice, because those things drive me mental. Yeah, the amount of times I've got caught on them, and since no one's added a way to just detonate them out the floor for now, yeah, backup plan, I'd rather drive over them than just keep getting stuck on them. And last but not least, I was just messing around, running over my car marshal, as you do. Stuck a winch on it, and as you can see, I mean, yeah, it's coming with me, it doesn't really have much choice in the matter, so it's just because it's planted well enough, it works. Anyway, that's about it today though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps, thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreon members as well. Get yourself one of these, and a loaf of course, and I'll be back soon.